Hey, it's your boy Sergeant Hook the Hedgens. Today we're reviewing episode 44 of Kikai, Sentai, Zenkaiger. Um, this show's been amazing throughout, and I'm going to be really, really sad to not see it anymore, I guess. I mean, because if I rewatch it, it's different, but um, it's a really amazing show. And I like how well it's trying to do the anniversary thing in its own way. It's not trying to be Gokaiger, it's trying to do its own thing, and I appreciate that. This episode was really good. So this one's focused on Zox and Flint because the SD World Monster is finally part of this. We have a scene where Gege somehow, who's controlling Stacy, his voice changes at one point, but he's talking to Bokowas and has a request, has a favor. I'm thinking that it was the SD World gear and another gear that we'll talk about in a little bit. But that brings up the SD World monster. And Stacy comes into it and tells them, hey, if you destroy that monster, blah, 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 it'll save everybody, because basically his thing is he does this SD Spark thing and makes people into little robots, little SD bots. Super deformed, if you didn't know that's what it means. And so Zox, the entire episode is very focused on this. He didn't want anybody to help him. Up to this point, he's been helping them, but that's his thing. And we find out some really good character stuff about him, that when his dad died, that he kind of left him in charge, and so he feels responsible for Flint and for Katana and Ricky, and that he feels awful that they were transformed the way they were, and wants to handle it himself. And to an extent, Kaito understands that, but Kaito is Kaito, and he wants to help everybody. He's very similar to Ikki in the way of wanting to be helpful and kind of butting in a little bit. And he helped him with his dad, so he wants to help him with something that his dad entrusted him. So, and Zox says, no, stay out of it, blah, blah, blah. Well, most of the team gets hit with the SD, so we have most of the Kikanoids as SD bots. Some really funny scenes getting the bat. Gawan's trapped in a net, and gets him down, and he's like, thank you, and he has little facial expressions and stuff, limited in what they can do. I'm hoping they get a release as SD bots. Varun is on a balloon or something like that they just are gonna take down, but then they see Zox, and he goes to talk to him, and Varun just the balloon pops off screen and he falls. So yeah, it's a really fun episode. They do a really good job of using the SD format, if you will, power, if you will, to mess with things. We get a lot of back and forth too, where Kaito goes to talk to Flint and Flint and Katsuna and Ricky, and he's like, why is your brother the way he is? And they tell him that we've been alone for a while. Our dad died very young, and he kind of entrusted the family to Zox, so he's always been very protective. And even if we think we have an idea, we just kind of defer to him. And he basically tells them, well, that's important, but I think that you guys, just because you guys can't go out there and swing. Juran is actually one talking, not Kaito, I'm sorry. Juran goes to talk to him, and he says, just because you guys aren't because they're hanging out with them, waiting to find the other SD bots and everything. He says to him, just because you're not going around waving around a sword or shooting a gun doesn't mean you're not a hero, you can't help fight. And I like that. It also begs the question of, if there ever was an idea at some point of making Flint a ranger, there's still time we could do that, a last-minute possible ranger thing for her, or a last-minute thing for her in a follow-up special or in a crossover movie. And also, I think somebody posted online about things they think might happen. Either Stacy gets an upgrade, Kaito gets a last-minute upgrade that becomes Zenkaiger Black, Isao comes back as good Kaiser, or Flint becoming Ranger. So just things to think about. If possible, you'd be like, hey, I called it, bingo. And so they end up, they all got hit with it, and then Zox's transformate, the Geardlinger got hit with it too, so it's really tiny. And his gear didn't, but the Geardlinger did. And so Flint, unknowing to him, created an SD version that he could put the pieces together. And the attention to detail on, he goes, Change to, he puts in it, he goes, Yamasang! Change to Kai. To Kaiza! And it's a little, really high-pitched, tiny version. I love it. And it's the same thing with the SD bot Zenkaigers. When they transform, they also have little itty-bitty Gertlingers that work still. So that was fun. So he fights, we get a really nice, solo transformation for him. And at first, before that, he was a badass going in there with a sword and a flintlock pistol on his own without his powers. He's like, screw it, I don't need my powers. I'm going to do this on my own. And that's what I like about Zox. He's so determined, and he's so selfless, and I like that. I'm hoping if they do eventually come back into it, that they'll be fully part of the team and stop the whole "we're not part of that" blah 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 thing. But we'll see. Um, it's kind of his thing to not be part of the team technically, like not technically be a Zenkaiger. But anyway, so he fights the SD World Monster, kicks its butt. Gege Stacy, Stay Gege is there too, doing things, being manipulative and whatever. And they fight, and Kaito comes in and helps him. He's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Well," he's like, I told you when you guys got here, you can do whatever you want as long as you help us. And you've done that. You've held up the end of your bargain. But the SD bot world, the SD world monster is not just your threat. He's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, it's affected people from our world too. So it's hurt us as well. So we have just as much of a claim to fight it as you do." So I like that. But yeah, we get fun scenes of the little SD bot Kikanoids fighting, Jiran doing his thing, Majin doing like a pit, a bunch of the Kudaks fall into it, Vroom separating and stuff and spinning around, Gawan doing his little scratch move. They do their little roll call. Gawan! He just like leans back. And it must have been fun to be like behind them, moving them around. Or if they were puppeteered. But anyway, so they fight, they eventually destroy the world monster. Of course, he's behind the gear. And they are the ones that end up fighting the world, like the giant version of it. And he does this like SD thing to the buildings, and the CG looked really bad. I'm not yet worried about Don Brothers using more CG for like mecha fights and whatnot, but this was not a good example of what they are capable of. There was a recent press photo put out of them, the whole team, the Don Brothers together, and the suits for Kiji and is it Saru Brother? Whatever the dog one is, for the pink and black had like suit wrinkles on it and stuff. People were confused, like, "Whoa, are they going to be real suit actors? Are they going to be puppets? What's going on?" I think it was just added detail to make it look more realistic. But maybe there is a way they can shift around their focus of budget towards that to make it look really good. This just wasn't my favorite. I like Zamryoka Zenkaio as like a CG model, but it looked really goofy with everything else. So they of course win the day. And Zox and Flint are like, "Well, we've destroyed him. Isotopia is freed. We're gonna go now. We got to figure out a way to reverse them." So it's almost like entering SD-topia is what made the boys into SD bots, not SD World as a monster. At the very, very end of it, very interesting, we see Stacy, Stegege, whatever someone to call him now, Stegege. Hope it doesn't come off as a homophobic slur. It really is not meant to be. His name's literally Gege and Stacy. But anyway, so Gege controlled Stacy, whatever, flips a little coin up, and it's one of the gears, and it's Kaizotopia. And so he's basically, it feels like he's trying to move some things around so that they don't have the support they'll need. I'm thinking Gege's original, final plan is to eventually take over Kaito somehow, or do something with Kaito. I don't know. But I have a really big worry in the back of my mind that we're going to get a very somber ending going into Don Brothers. I don't know that for sure, but it just feels that way. Like with, I don't know, Kaito being controlled or like killed or sent to some other world or what. But like I said, Jiran and some form of Zenkaiger are supposed to be part of Don Brothers for a bit, to the point where Don Momotaro, I thought there was a rumor, maybe that's not true anymore, is supposed to be using a Gertlinger for a little bit before he switches over to using the Don Blaster. But yeah, this was a really good episode. Nice follow-up to the previous episode and everything going on there. I like that it was the ending arc for Zox. We get a lot of time with him and Flint and the SD Bot Bros and their connections with the team. The team's very sad to see them go, but they say, "Sada bye-bye. This isn't the last time we'll see you, but we have to leave now." Yeah, next week's episode is like Majin focused out of nowhere, which is weird when we only have like 2 to 3 more episodes left, or 3 to 4, however many episodes left. It feels odd to have a focus episode like that, and a goofy one that doesn't look like it's pushing the pot. I always think it's not pushing the pot forward, and then all of a sudden the episode airs and it does. So I'd be wrong. But this is a really good episode. I really enjoyed it. I would probably give it a strong 9.5 out of 10. Only because I wish that we would have gotten more distinction as to what made the brothers into SD bots, and clearly it wasn't the power of SD World like that. He didn't do it, because actually there's a point where they help fight, and he shoots the beam, the spark thing at them, and it doesn't do anything because they're already that. They help fight. So that was kind of a nice moment, seeing them and Flint kind of be part of it. But yeah, it was really good, and I'm going to be really sad to see the show go. Coming up soon on the channel, we have clearly my Revice review for episode 19 now? Jeez. Yeah. Getting over that Reiwa first arc slump, really are. um, yeah, so that's coming up pretty soon. I'm gonna try and keep up with the reviews as much as I can. We are right at the like cusp of selling the house we're currently in, which this house is actually my in-laws right now. The house that we're at, where we live out in the different part of the state here, uh, and then buying our new house soon. So if there is a like pause in between videos of like no content, I apologize, but I'm gonna try to keep up as best I can. Um, Pretty soon I should be getting. I'm hoping that some of the stuff will ship out, like my Down Blaster, the Demon's Driver, and a few of the other things I have. The Forza driver as well. I did recently get a couple V stamps. I wanted the Kuga Line one and the Forza Gorilla one. That's going to be on its way. I have the Kuga Line one right over there actually. So I'll do some Toku Toy videos on those if you guys are interested. Maybe some short TikToks about them instead or something like that. But yeah, definitely gonna keep up with content. But let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of today's episode? Did you guys like 44? Did you not like it? Did you love Zox? Did you hate him? Were you in the middle? Are you sad to see him go? Where do you think the end game is gonna go with the show? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to see your guys' theories about stuff like that. I love reading that and getting hyped about possibilities, because I'm intelligent enough to not let my own theory not working out make me hate the show or the writers, because I'm not a baby. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think of the episode. Would you guys rate it yourselves? If you guys have other ideas for content, things you want me to rate, things you want me to review, maybe some episodes of a certain show you want me to watch and tell you guys how I feel about it, something like that. May it be Toku or not. It's up to you guys. But anyway, until next time, stay hooked on Henshins. I'll talk to you later. Finger guns ain't going nowhere. Bum ba da bum 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 ba da bum bum. Change your Zenkai. Anyway, bye.